Hi guys, what is going on? Today we have got another gear review for you. Now today we are looking at none other than the Tectonic Innovations Quake. Now the Quake is available in two different models, the 8-way and the 4-way. And I'm going to explain to you exactly what both of those mean and if you should be picking up one of these grenades. So without further ado, this is the Tectonic Innovations Quake. So as I mentioned previously, the Quake is available in both a 4 and an 8-way. Unfortunately, this doesn't actually mean you have 8 shots. What it means is you have 7 shots plus safe, or 3 shots plus safe, depending on which model you've decided to go for. The Quake 8-way will come in at approximately £135, depending on your supplier, and the 4-way around the £100 mark. For those of you that don't know, the Quake is a blank firing grenade. Blank firing grenade meaning that it fires these small little primers. I don't know if my camera will actually be able to pick up on that. You can just about make them out there. And the beauty of running a blank firing grenade is that you can throw your grenade and it will go bang. You can then pick it up, reset it and throw it again. One of the beautiful things about the Quake, it's ready for up to 7 throws without reloading. As a lot of you guys will know, I've used several different grenades over the past, and that's why I wanted to give you a truthful opinion of the Quake. It's definitely been put through its paces, both in CQB and woodland environments. I want to be able to tell you if it's any good. So a little bit more information about the Quake. The body is primarily aluminium, and your hammer/striker is made of stainless, along with the bashing here and the bashing at the bottom. These are the main stainless parts. The only other stainless parts are actually inside as well. The fact that the body is made primarily of aluminium keeps the weight down, coming in at just under 450 grams empty and just over with full 7 primers ready to go. As you guys know, I've been a big fan of the TRMR. Now, I actually owned 2 of them previously. One issue with the TRMR is that they're very shiny to thieves. One thing I like about the Quakes is because they're so readily available now, thieves are less inclined to try and take them. So I actually ended up getting rid of mine purely because I became too scared to throw it in case they got stolen. One way you can try and put thieves off stealing one of these is engraving on the body. Now the body has been machined nice and smooth. I don't actually have any engraving besides the standard Tectonic Innovations engraving, which is round the base and on the side as well. But the fact that it's nice and smooth means you can engrave absolutely anything you want into it. Anywhere that does laser engraving, you can get one of these engraved for approximately £5. Meaning you can put your name, your call sign, your logo, whatever you want you can put on the side. The Quakes are available in multiple different colours. You can actually buy the parts separately, so if you wanted, let's say, a blue upper and a purple lower to make it more yours, that is something that you can do. Just speak to your local Quake supplier. Loading one of these and operating one of these Quakes is really easy. To load the grenade, it's really simple. Simply unscrew this base and then drop away. Simply screws off like that, and then that drops out. As you can see there, you have the 7 shots plus the safe. One thing that's not worth worrying about is inside the base and inside the actual holder. You'll find that they're going to get a bit sort of burnt up a little bit, but that's fine, it's nothing to worry about. So we now have all 7 primers in and the grenade is ready to be put back together. You have this little marker that shows you what mode you're currently in. You're going to want to make sure the safe is lined up with that little mark. Push and then hold. Simply screw the base on and you're now good to go. This grenade features a hammer that will always be movable, as you can see there. But what will happen is you won't actually be able to produce a bang until you turn the base onto one of the live settings. Simply turn it around and we're now ready to go bang. One thing that a lot of people have come into issues with is this becoming quite difficult to turn. And from time to time it can be quite tight. Now there's a few ways you can solve this. The first one and the most easiest one is to actually just not do the base up super tight. Because the tolerances are quite good in the Quake, you can over tighten it to the point of you can't overcome the little ball bearings. Now, I will come on to a way to solve this. As you guys know, I've been using the Tremors a lot. I've also been using the Dynatex. Now actually the Dynatex are probably the most reliable grenades you can buy and they're quite cheap, but they are a little bit fiddly to try and reset. One thing that is good about the Quake is that it features no safety pin. As long as you're on the safe setting, it can't go off. There is a few reliability issues. Now, for the most part, you can solve the reliability issues by using a decent brand of primers. These are the ones I use. These are the ones that get recommended. Definitely worth picking up a pack. Around £6, £7, depending on where you buy them from. The next thing that you can have with issues of reliability is throwing it on various different grounds. I've actually seen these go bang with a drop of only 7 centimeters onto concrete. But from my personal experience, if you're throwing onto concrete, 9 times out of 10 it will go bang. The issue comes when you're using one of these in a woodland environment, but they can still go off. But the ground does have to be relatively hard. You will see from time to time these do go off on grass, but again, if the grass is too long and it slows that impact down, it can be enough to not set it off. Overall, you don't tend to have too many issues with these on gravel, unless the gravel is really loose and it's like almost like sand. So this grenade is definitely aimed at the CQB environment, but not so much the woodland. That is my biggest flaw with the Quake. To be honest, it's the biggest flaw with pretty much any impact grenade. The only one that I've not found any issues with is the Dynatex. Saying that, for any kind of CQB play, this grenade is a great addition to your kit. What I'm going to do is quickly show you how easy it is to break this down. Now, one thing that's very good about this as well is that all of the parts are replaceable. If you do have issues, contact Tectonic Innovations and they'll do their best to sort you out a replacement. That is one thing that's really nice about this, is you don't have to buy a new grenade every time something goes wrong. We're going to quickly break down the Quake and I'm going to show you a few of the common problems and how to fix them. So the first common problem you're going to have is the head becoming loose. Now to fix this, you're actually going to need to break it down in exactly the same way to break it down any other way, so I figured I'd show you both. Firstly, you unscrew the base, you take off the firing mat. Now that actually isn't important for retightening this, but that's the first step of any kind of breakdown. The next common issue you're going to get is the 2 springs in here are going to become really stiff and they're just going to lock in this base. So you remove the base. That's step 1. Step 2 is to remove this collar at the top end. Simply hold the collar in your hand and unscrew. Now yours might be quite stiff, but it will eventually come undone. One thing you want to be careful of is that you don't cross thread it trying to get it back in. So to fix the first issue with the hammer coming loose, simply unscrew it. Now when you put back together, you simply put a small blob of blue Loctite on that, do it up nice and tight, and it will keep itself in perfectly. Now inside you have the firing pin mechanism. This should just fall out. Now inside you're going to have 2 little holes that have 2 grub screws in. These grub screws are behind these little ball bearings, and behind those there is a spring in between the 2. If you're finding that the base is locking up quite often, this can be one of the causes. If these are sticking, for instance, this one is a lot harder to push than this one, it's a really easy way to adjust how much tension is behind that spring. Now inside these can build up grub over time, so you just want to take it apart like I have and just push them out, make sure they're free from dirt and stuff like that. If one is still particularly stronger than the other and you're finding it too strong to adjust, take a 3mm Allen key. These can be quite tight, especially if they've never been undone. You can back these off so that there's next to no pressure on them. To be honest, you can actually overback them off, so you're going to want to make sure that they still have a fair bit of pressure, just not too much. And it's not actually a ball bearing, it's a little pin that just has a rounded edge like a ball bearing. It's definitely worth putting a small blob of thread lock, just to stop them working their way loose. When you're piecing these two bits together, it's really important that you don't cross thread. It's very easy to cross thread aluminium, but if it gets difficult, take it apart, inspect the thread. And now it's way easier to operate. With repeated use, you will notice that the body is going to get damaged up. Now unfortunately this is impossible to stop because it's purely aluminium. The majority of the scuffs will be on the stainless bits, meaning that it's not going to be too damaged in comparison to if they made the entire thing out of aluminium. With the Quake's smaller size, it's also possible to get a holster for it, meaning that you can mount directly to your MOLLE systems. So guys, that has been my long-term review of the Quake by Tectonic Innovations. Overall, it's a really good grenade option that has loads of spare parts available, but also has great service backing it as well. It's definitely worth having in every airsofter's arsenal. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. This has been Major Woods. My name is Ollie, and I'll see you here again soon.